Alright, welcome back Winning Galaxy Empire fans. So this is part 2 of our combat versus probe super nebbing fleets for neb fishing. Here we're going to go ahead and see what these two fleets would look like if they were to attack each other. Right now this video is going to be dedicated to actually explaining a little bit more about sustained damage, sustained attacks. And we'll show you how that works. Now, as I mentioned in the first video, I'm using these M&Ms here to represent ships. We have the yellow ships are the light fighters, and we have the green ships are the heavy fighters, the blue ships are the cruisers, and the orange ships are the battleships. Now these are roughly equivalent fleets here. You're going to have a great many more light fighters actually whenever you're super nebbing versus whenever you're combat nebbing, because all of your ships are going to be coming back into here. You're also going to be magnifying your probe growth. So your ships are going to be growing much faster. You don't run into that point where you are held back in super nebbing because you can't afford the gas to send more ships, and those ships are just going to be accumulating on your planet. With super nebbing, you're able to send all your probes every time. So your light fighter fleet is going to end up being bigger. Now these ships are much more powerful than these little bitty ships. So let's pretend that these are like equivalent fleets. Now the only way this is really going to happen is if you guys catch this at a point in time where both the super nebs have grown to a point that they are now passing the combat nebs, which actually happens fairly early on in the combat versus super nebbing race. Okay, so first thing we need to do is explain a little bit about battle. Now a lot of people use the excuse that cruisers get a bonus to the light fighters whenever they're fighting. Now here's the way sustained damage works. Each ship in here gets an attack. That's going to be represented by these red ones here. I'm just going to make up a number here for how many are there. Try to make good piles. Oh my gosh, they're spreading all over the place. See, this is such a delicious video for me. I get to eat all these. I love this. This is a great idea. Sorry guys, I know I try not to spend money on the game, and here I spent money on M&Ms. It's alright. They'll be eaten. Okay, so these are your individual attacks then that are being sent off by these ships. This is the way that battle is calculated. Now, there's all of our attacks that are coming off from these ships. So now, when we're looking at sustained damage, we know that the light fighters do not get any bonus against the light fighters. The heavy fighters do not get a bonus against the light fighters. The battleships do not get a bonus against the light fighters, but the cruisers do. And the cruiser bonus, I think, is what their number is 5, 5 or 6. Either way, it's basically one extra attack. Now, the way sustained damage works is all of these attacks are already pre-registered at the beginning of damage, or at the beginning of the battle round. Now there's a check for each of these ships, and you've got an 80% chance that any of these ships that has a trigger ship in the opponent fleet will get their sustained damage bonus. Light fighters, 0%, because there are no probes or solar satellites in this fleet, in this imaginary fleet that we're attacking. Same thing with heavy fighters, battleships. I think they've got some other, what do battleships get? We got a little cheat over here. No, probes and solar sats, same thing. Heavy fighters also get a bonus against small cargo, but we don't have that in this fleet right now, just for the purpose of this example right now. Cruisers, they get their bonus against light fighters. Now, you've got an 80% chance that the cruisers will trigger and get their sustained damage bonus. So let's pretend that they do. What happens? Well, since they have the modifier of 6 to sustain damage, that actually means they get 1 additional attack each. The reason why each one gets an additional attack is because 100% of the opponent fleet is made up of these light fighters. So 100% of these cruisers get to have their extra attack. If we were to mix this up a little bit and say, since we are super nebbing, we've got a whole bunch of, here we go. We've got a whole bunch of small cargo too, okay? Then now, 50% of the opponent fleet is made up of the ship that triggers the cruisers' sustained damage, so only 50% of the cruisers get their added attacks. However, the heavy fighters, they have now an 80% chance of triggering against these, the small cargo. If they do, they get an extra 50% because the small cargo makes up 50% of the fleet. guys understand how that works? I hope so, because nobody can respond back and tell me yes or no. Now, once all that is done, all of this damage is thrown together into one big pile. We're going to pretend that we had some over here too, and we brought it all over. It's all thrown into one big pile, okay? And that's now an attack that basically is launched all at the same time at your bad guy fleets. Okay, so at this point we're going to go ahead and stop part 2. We're going to take you into part 3, which is the secret of why combat nebbing is really not going to be good for you, because your fleet is actually weaker. And we'll do that here in just a moment, so check back.